I'm Joe Smarknight. We have been working on the Role-Playing Objects 2.0, and we have 2 of the full packs finished today. Keep in mind, the art is finished. These objects are what they are. We're going to show them to you, but we are not done with our work on getting the transitions right, our glows, and how we want the thickness of the transitions to be. But these objects are going to be tweaked a little bit from here on out. This is our first test print, so I'm really excited to show you. We have 2 full blueprints, one for the caves and one for the wilderness. But you might see graphical little glitches, and obviously that's our next step, and I'll talk about that in a moment. We even have a 3rd page that we printed that is just like a series of glows, so we can go back and forth and compare them to each other. But let's get started with the caves. This is a 24-piece pack of caves. It has a giant rope bridge. It has a huge crack in the ground. It has a small web and a large web. It has cracked earth. It has broken rock from a cave-in. It has a variety of mushrooms. It has a variety of crystals. It has a dead body and debris pile. It has like a mossy or rough poisony patch. It has a water spray. It has an entrance to a cave where you can put it against the wall and make an entrance there, or you can put it connected to another cave. We have an interior cave piece with scaffolding, so you can make like a bridge, not a bridge, but if you had a wall in your map, you can now make an access point between 2 areas that otherwise would have been covered up. We have a spore cloud. So like when you go into a lot of cavey areas and some mushrooms are there, but they're safe, you walk into there and it's fine. But other areas you walk into and there's like a big spore cloud going on. Everybody's like breathing in spores. This will be something you can put down to make the area look like a spore cloud. We have a hole going straight down. We have a big wooden plank you can put across a gorge. This and this are similar. So again, if you had a little piece of wall and you wanted like a little crack to be in the wall or a transitional path, the purpose of this piece can be that you can lay it over a part of a map and create an opening where there wouldn't have been an opening before. And on the B side for all these pieces are another color of mushroom. These things became big jagged boulders. So instead of this opening being like a cave passage, this is more like a giant dark crack in between pieces of stone. You can possibly use this on like a building where there's like a big wall. If it lined up, you could like make it look like there's a big crack in the building. A different type of plank, different types of webs. This one is more like the earth is cracked, like the dirt, and this is more like stone is cracked, or there's a shattering in stone. So just different textures depending on how they blend and what you want to do with them. They're going to look different in different environments. And this is instead of a really thick rubble cave-in, this is a really light rubble cave-in. This is a bigger passage, or like the Thou Shalt Not Pass. It looks like a dirt bridge instead of a rope bridge. It's like a natural bridge. And then instead of a crack going straight down to the ground, this is more like a cliff edge. We have an acid puddle. We have a water puddle. We have a different debris pile that's gonna look more like one's gonna look more like a human pile of bones, like monsters been killing humans and putting them in a pile, and one's gonna look more like a pile of stuff and some bones and maybe I don't know, maybe there's poison in there or refuse or something. So that way the 2 bone piles will feel different. This didn't print correctly, but this one is for how this one is like a scaffolded cave entrance. This is just a natural cave entrance. I have another one, but we'll fix that in a day. It's not a big deal. We're just gonna do blanket and replace it. So that looks a lot better. That streaking will all be gone when we print our real print. What else did I miss? I think that's it for the, and then this is like an instant cave. Like this is a cave itself. And what's really cool is you can put the cave on the ground, you can put the cave entrance up to it, and you can actually just make a cave in the middle of nowhere instead of if you had a cave. But the other thing you can do with this, if you have a big cave map, like if you have the Arknight cave map, and there's a wall somewhere, but you now want there to be a little like secret passage. This is something that I do. I do it again in the castle set. I really want you to have an option as a GM to say, okay, search for secret passages. And then when the player finds them, you can reward them. And in a normal map scenario, and you've seen this every day, the players will be playing and they'll be like, well, there's obviously a chunk of space missing. So I know there's probably a secret room there. And lo and behold, they go, we searched for secret rooms. And then you go, oh yeah, there is one, it's right here. And they go, well, I know, because we can magically see the blueprint of this entire building. But with this, you can say, hey, search for secret passage. And then they know the map does not have space for secret passage. There's no way there could be a secret passage there. but they find it, and then you add an addition to the map, like over the top of where there was another room, and you say this is a secret alcove. And it lets you modulate maps in a way that I find so exciting. And so in the castle maps, we're going to have like a closet. It's like a micro room, just that you can stick a micro room off the edge of a balcony or into a secret passage. And this is sort of the same logic in a cave. It can just be a cave in the middle of the wilderness, but what I find to be more exciting is you can be playing a cave map anyway, and suddenly you can find a secret nub or addendum, or you can take something that used to be a big open room and you can terminate it instead, and you can just change the maps in a fundamental way. The way the caves often work is you want to make them modular, of course, so this is going to go to that, that's going to go to this, but I want to find that little Terminator cave. You can have cracks and stuff appear in the inside of your cave network, and suddenly you have to go around it and go through and wiggle through. Terminator right here. Again, I'm repeating myself, but you got to imagine we're fixing the glows. The glow is going to transition a little better than this. But what I really like is that you say, okay, you see this map, and you're coming this way, and you're moving over here, and in your brain, you can't help but to know that around this corner, over there, you can get through this way and go that way. But when your player actually goes that way, you could, one, terminate this area, right? You could modulate the map in a way that suddenly you can't go that way. You can also say, all right, look for secret passages. And they go, okay, we look for secret passages. And they roll like a 20. And you go, okay, you found that there's an entrance right here. And this entrance right here goes into a secret passage. And again, you can wet erase and dry erase on top of the maps, but you can also wet erase and dry erase on top of these things. But now you can say, okay, there it is. And if it blends, you will suddenly have a little pocket room in the middle of your map. Or even if it doesn't make sense, you can have a pocket room going like this as you walked by. So no one would have ever thought from looking at this map to search this wall. But you can now say you do. You find a secret little chamber that must like go down a little bit. And so they can imagine this is like a little secret pocket that goes down a little bit, and then when they walk around, you see the other side. Okay, so one of our objectives is to say, okay, there's a crack now. And this crack is now a passage you can move through to get around the level that you otherwise see you have to go around. And this is the other version of that, where you can have a larger area be like cracked through and pass through. So that's why we're giving you these two pieces, a bigger and a smaller one. We have to have you just guess at the sizes. And if it doesn't line up, it's like, so what? And say, there you go, there's a passage through there. The other one being like a crack, like an actual, like a split, that you could take something and say, yeah, there's a big split there. You can go around, you can go through there. Okay, here is the wilderness pack. The wilderness pack is all about, greenery and trees and stuff like that. So we have got a big dirt swirl. So when you put that in the ground, it looks like, the swirl go down. You put it in the sand, it looks like the swirl's going down. You've got a cliff. Right now, we're not happy with our cliffs, so just keep that in mind. The idea is sort of working, but the blend needs to be better, and the way we use darkness to show where the cliff is, we're going to rework that and try again. So that's not as final, but this is going to be something you can put down and have like a berm or a ridge, and so you can have like a sniper or an archer up on the ridge, and you know the enemy has to go around. He can't just run straight at you. We have a hole going down. We have a rock. We have a tree with berries. We have like a mushroom circle. We have a dead tree with no leaves. We have an orangey tree. We have like a cherry blossom tree. We have a giant rock. We have a mossy rock. We have a fallen log. We have a tree stump. We have bushes. This is like an outpost. The idea here, let me find it. It comes from like the goblin blind idea, where you want to take your big tree, or say this tree right here, and you want to be able to just draw. Let me do this on the big camera. You want to be able to take a big tree and just like add a blind to it. And maybe you don't discover it. Maybe you're walking down and the guy goes, hey, you get attacked, and you go from where, and you get shot at, and then you do a perception check, and then when you see it, you can place this blind and then place a mini on it. Or you can have it attached to the side of a tree to build like a tree house or something. So this was something that I really liked, because of course I can put it in the middle of the wilderness and have people just stand on it and have it be like a watchtower, like an outpost. I think this is incredibly useful, even though it's so simple. But the original idea was this is more like a ladder, and then you could attach it to a tree, and you'd have a blind inside of your tree. And of course, you can layer it onto any tree you want. You can put it anywhere you want. But that's what this is. That's why there's suddenly this little wooden formation. Okay, you've got a signpost. You've got a campfire that's been put out. You've got like herbs, so if you're looking for like medicinal herbs or you want to find something for like aloe, you have a lily pad with bubbles, you've got a mushroom, you've got berries. And then on the B side, you've got different colors of trees. So on the A side, all of the trees are green. You have lots of green trees. But on the B side, now you get a variety of different types of trees. So each tree can sort of be a standard tree or some variation. And so that's a lot of those. The little tower is now like a way shrine, so it's got like a placard on it, and it can point to like north or whatever, and tell you like some little message, or like, you know, be careful of the path or whatever. This swirl, instead of being like a dirt swirl that can go down to the ground, it's now a water swirl. We've got a river. Again, the transitions on these are going to be completely reworked. This is our first print test to see what thickness of glow we want, what transition we want. And that's going to be reworked. But this is going to be a dirt path or like a road. This is going to be like a little micro river. So if you have to like have a scene where you have to ford the river, you can just drop it down and then have your players fording it, or like trying to get 15 feet across or whatever. You have a hole that goes straight down. You have a tree. You have a giant bush. You have another log. This is actually an anthill. So you can see there's like a hole, and the ants can come out of that, like a bug nest or something like that, where monsters can come out of, or like a snake can come out of and bite you. Whereas this is just a plain trunk. This is a patch of dirt. This is a different type of crack. It's, you know, if you're just going to have a cliff, you can't run up it, but you could be there. Whereas the variation will be like a crack going down. So if you did fall there, you would fall, but it can still obstruct your movement, but it wouldn't obstruct your line of sight. So like you could shoot across this, but you couldn't walk across this. This you could potentially walk up and climb up, but if I pushed you into this wall, so what? You hit a wall, no big deal. But if I pushed you into this, you'd fall. So they can be quite similar in what they are, but have very different repercussions in a combat scene. The mushrooms become rocks. The plants become different types of plants. We have a signpost. We'll do something to make this a little different, maybe. It could be like maybe a stone signpost, or what we might want to do is put writing on one, like writing on one, and then put like glyphs on the other, so it feels like it's either like a more arcane signpost or more of a regular signpost. These are just ideas, I don't know. And then we have a lit campfire to go with our unlit campfire. So these two packs are on the same die, and if we get that one die made, we could have at least these two packs ready to ship, you know, definitely before Christmas. So I think if we cannot make our aggressive desire of getting the entire first 5 packs done by Christmas, we are definitely going to chop at some point where we go, hey, we can get these out by Christmas. I really think it'll be exciting for you guys. It'll be really redeeming for us to get something in your hands before Christmas time. And we're so close. We've got the art. We're printing it. It looks great. But now let's talk about the transition test. The transitions are really critical for this product because this product has so much potential to go places where no one else's product can go, and we want to do that as well as we can. And so one thing we have to do is we have to ask ourselves, you know, what kind of glow looks the best? What kind of shadow looks the best? And so we've obviously cut a copy of everything, but we've got some things where we cut multiple copies of the same thing so we can test how they look. And I'm looking for my log specifically. Let me do it in the big camera. We're able to just ask ourselves, okay, well, which of these versions do we want the best? And so we have long shadows, we have short shadows, we have strokes, we have no strokes, we have no shadows. And as we play with it, we are going to be testing which one is going to blend better, which one's going to make it happier. There's certain types of blends with the trees. I can show you my trees here. Okay, so let's put all these to the red side because we're comparing. So you can see that we're comparing if we have an interior shadow but no exterior shadow, if you have light shadows, if you have heavy shadows, if you have no shadow at all. Comparing those things is going to have a different vibe. And of course we want to look at not only does it look right in play, does it blend with more terrain, but you know, how do you just feel with the piece by itself all the time. I'll flip these over to the green side. And so the next phase for us is to spend a few print runs trying different things. Obviously from this one print run, I can already tell you everything's already changed. But I'm just trying to explain the process we're going through now. We've done our print test, and now we're going to play with these and say, okay, what's the thing that we do now to make this glow better and better, and then we do a print. This log was a half shadow. This log was a 2-point stroke. This log was our original regular shadow log, and this log was a no shadow log. So these 4 rocks, you can compare them directly. This is a rock with a 2-point stroke, a rock with no shadow, a rock with the original shadow, and a rock with a half shadow. And then when you flip them, 2-point stroke isn't going to work on blue and green, the no shadow, the full shadow, and the half shadow. So they're different techniques. We want sharper blends. These sharper blends really blend into the table. So we've got to get our blend to sharpen up, and it looks really good. I really like this one. This is the same test. This is no shadow, original. That's also original. Half shadow. This is a feathered long shadow. So very different techniques. I'm looking at the camera. It looks like I can stick my finger in these holes. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And this one particularly, even though it has the green on it and the brown, it can just work in so many contexts. I'm so excited by this. Who would think that like a hole is like the coolest thing? Like you put a hole in the water, and it just looks like there's a hole in the water. Obviously, its natural environment will be more like grass or more like dirt or something. As far as Christmas goes, I don't know what's going to get done, but we're going to try to get the first 5 packs done. And if we're 3 done or 4 done or 2 done or 6 or 7 done, whatever is ready by around December 5th, we're going to print so that by December 15th, we're shipping them. And I want you guys to get whatever's ready. And if we have to split block 1 again, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's work, but I want to do that work to thank you guys for coming with us on this project. This project is going to be enormous, and it's a wacky year. I mean, obviously 2020 was a wacky year for COVID, but this is a wacky year because people don't know if they're recovered. Like, people don't know if they can get back to normal. I think everybody's still seeing a downturned economy. People aren't buying stuff. And so for a guy like us, like we're this company just trying to make stuff. And so we really need to have the support of the community directly, because if we can't keep making projects, so then we're stuck. But if we have you guys as backing, we can take these downtimes where there's not a lot going on and just put it into the work so that we can make a really cool project, and then hopefully 2022 just bounces right back. So we don't mind putting in the effort and putting in the energy to split shipping again for block 1 and get as many of these orders out with like a pre, it's not a block 1, it's a block 0.5. But at this point, we're optimistic. We're optimistic we can still get at least the first 5 packs done, and I believe most backers have block 1 and no add-ons. Or I should say, a bunch of backers will have the 5 packs of block 1 without add-ons, and so that when we ship them before Christmas, that'll clean their block 1 off the books entirely. That would be my objective, to get as many 5-pack block 1s out the door. And that'll only leave then the add-ons in block 1 is like a block 1.5, like a second wave to get those out the door, which is fine. But on a good day, Phil thinks we'll just finish all 10 because Caravans is going to go fast. Houses and Houses 2 and Shops are basically already done because they're such big set pieces and we already have so much content for that. So those 3 packs are basically, so if we're shipping the 5, we're basically already at 8. Caravans is a little unknown, and I think the biggest, not a hurdle, but the most work on the table still is Marketplace. Marketplace is going to have a lot of work to do, but if we can knock that out in a week, we're going to be in a really good spot. But we'll just stay in touch. Obviously, that's the point of Kickstarter. That's the point of these updates. So as long as we are putting the work in and then giving you guys some understanding of where we're at, I think you guys will be patient with us, and that's what we'll do. Okay, thanks a bunch.